Touch me again, and you'll regret it. Who the hell are you?
Emily Thompson stepped into the Rusty Nail Tavern, seeking nothing more than a quiet whiskey after a long day at the Community Veterans Center. The place was a staple in Willow Creek, Texas, a dusty corner bar where locals gathered to swap stories over cold beers and country tunes. The air was thick with the scent of fried onions and spilled liquor, and the dim lights cast flickering shadows on the worn oak tables. At 52, Emily carried herself with the quiet assurance of someone who'd seen the world and come back changed. Her salt and pepper hair pulled into a neat ponytail, her frame lean and strong from years of discipline. She wasn't looking for trouble, but trouble had a way of finding her. Jack Harlan, the hulking leader of the Steel Wolves Motorcycle Club, spotted her immediately. To him, she was just another woman alone at the bar, easy prey for his crude amusement. His crew, a rough bunch of leather-clad bikers with tattoos snaking up their arms, chuckled as he sauntered over, his boots thumping against the scuffed floor. The slap came quick and loud, his hand connecting with her backside in a way that echoed through the room, drawing hoots from his gang. But Emily's eyes, calm and unyielding, held a secret. 2 decades in the elite special forces, missions in the deserts of Iraq and the mountains of Afghanistan, where she'd learned to turn fear into fuel. What Jack didn't know was that this simple act of arrogance was about to unravel his empire of intimidation. In one fluid motion, Emily pivoted, grabbing his wrist with precision honed from countless close-quarters drills. She twisted, using his momentum against him, and he dropped to his knees with a grunt, pain shooting up his arm. The bar fell silent. The jukeboxes twanged the only sound as his crew stared in disbelief. Emily leaned in close, her voice a low whisper. "Touch me again, and you'll regret it." She released him, paid her tab, and walked out, leaving a room full of stunned faces wondering who this woman really was. Back at her modest ranch-style home on the outskirts of Willow Creek, Emily poured herself a coffee and reviewed the day's work at the Veterans Center. She'd founded it after retiring from the military, a place where former soldiers could find counseling, job training, and a sense of purpose. It grounded her, reminded her that life after service could mean something beyond the shadows of classified ops. But that night, as she settled into her routine, a distant rumble of motorcycles pierced the quiet. By morning, her garage door bore fresh graffiti, ugly slurs, and a stark, "You're done." The red paint dripped like blood, a clear message from Jack and his wolves. Emily wiped her fingers across the wet paint, her jaw set. This wasn't just vandalism, it was a declaration of war. She knew the type bullies who ruled through fear, backed by a corrupt local sheriff who'd turned a blind eye to their drug runs and extortion rackets. Sheriff Earl Donovan was as much a part of the problem as Jack, taking kickbacks to keep the Steel Wolves untouchable. Emily had read the signs since moving to Willow Creek 2 years ago, whispers in the grocery store, averted eyes at town meetings. But now, it was personal. She filed a report at the sheriff's office, a squat brick building downtown, with faded American flags fluttering outside. Donovan, a paunchy man in his late 50s with a mustache that hid his perpetual sneer, listened with feigned interest. "Sounds like kids messing around," he drawled, twirling a pen. "No need to blow it out of proportion." When Emily pressed about the bar incident, his eyes narrowed. "You put hands on Jack Harlan? That's assault in my book. Best watch yourself, ma'am." She left fuming, knowing justice wouldn't come from him. Back home, she dusted off her old Gira Secure laptop, binoculars, and began planning. If the law wouldn't help, she'd handle it her way. Meanwhile, at the Veterans Center, an old converted warehouse on the edge of town, Emily confided in her trusted aide, David Ramirez, a 45-year-old former Army mechanic with a quick wit and steady hands. "They're circling the block at night," he told her one morning over coffee, his voice low. "Watching us." I recognized a couple from Jack's crew. The center was more than a building. It was a lifeline for vets like Lisa Chun, a retired medic struggling with PTSD, and Tom Ellis, a Vietnam-era grunt who taught woodworking classes. The thought of Jack targeting them ignited a fire in Emily's chest. That evening, as Emily and David locked up, the roar of engines shattered the dusk. 5 bikes pulled into the lot, Jack at the front, his face twisted in a mocking grin. "This your little clubhouse for broken toys?" he bellowed, his crew fanning out with chains and bats. "Time to pay up for that stunt at the Rusty Nail." David stepped forward instinctively, but Emily held him back. "Let them talk," she murmured. Jack advanced, spewing slurs and threats, demanding she kneel and apologize. When he lunged, knife in hand, Emily sidestepped, disarming him with a swift block and sweep. He hit the gravel hard, wind knocked out. His crew hesitated, unnerved by her composure. "This ain't over," Jack spat as they revved away, tails between their legs. The standoff sparked debate among the vets the next day. "We can't just wait for them to come back," Lisa argued in a group meeting. "But fighting fire with fire? That's vigilante stuff." Tom nodded thoughtfully. "We've seen enough violence overseas. Do we bring it home?" Emily revealed her Special Forces background, showing her Medalsa Silver Star from a classified raid, commendations for training elite units. "This isn't about revenge," she said. "It's about defense. I'll teach you what I know." The room buzzed with mixed reactions, some eager for empowerment, others wary of escalation. But unity won out. They trained in the backyard, learning pressure points, evasion tactics, and how to watch each other's backs. It was controversial, stirring whispers in town. Were these vets forming a militia? Tensions boiled over one pre-dawn morning. Sirens wailed as Emily raced to the center, flames licking the sky. The building was ablaze, Molotov cocktails hurled through windows. David lay on the grass, burns blistering his arm, coughing smoke. "They laughed as they did it," he gasped. Jack's crew. Minor injuries dotted the group, but the loss was devastating. The counseling rooms reduced to ash, tools melted, memories scorched. The fire department contained it, but the damage was done. Sheriff Donovan arrived late, shrugging it off as arson by unknowns. Emily's blood boiled. This was attempted murder, an attack on vulnerable lives. The destruction ignited fierce arguments among the vets and even spilled into town coffee shops. They had it coming, standing up to Jack. Some muttered, fearing reprisals. Others whispered, "About time someone fought back." Emily rallied her group. "They think we're weak. Let's prove them wrong." She led surveillance ops, staking out Jack's compound, a fortified junkyard on the town's fringes, where drugs and trafficked women flowed under the cover of night. Using her old skills, she photographed shipments, crates of meth, scared young faces herded into vans. The evidence was damning, but releasing it prematurely could backfire. High drama unfolded during a dawn raid. Emily's teammate trained vets, disabled cameras, slashed tires, and documented everything on hidden cams. Chaos erupted as power cut out, Jack roaring orders in the dark. He charged Emily with a blade, but she subdued him effortlessly, zip-tying his wrists. "It's over, Jack," she said, as her team secured the site. Debates raged in their minds. Was this justice or overreach? Had they crossed into vigilantism? Calling in an old FBI contact, Agent Mark Riley from her Afghanistan days, Emily uploaded the files. Federal agents swarmed, arresting Jack, his crew, and Donovan amid flashing lights. Evidence of corruption payoffs, buried reports sealed their fates. Trials followed, with sentences handed down. Life for trafficking, decades for racketeering. The town breathed freely for the first time in years. Months later, the rebuilt Veterans Recovery Center stood taller, funded by grants and community donations. Emily oversaw expanded programs, therapy groups, job workshops, even a women's wing. The Rusty Nail, under new ownership, became a family-friendly spot with American flags and vet photos on the walls. Emily sat at her old stool one evening, sipping whiskey, reflecting on the peace she'd fought for. Jack's empire crumbled, his threats empty echoes. Willow Creek healed, bonds strengthened, fear replaced by hope. Emily knew violence had its place in self-defense, but the real victory was in unity and justice. What do you think about the themes of violence and injustice in this story? Share your opinions in the comments below. Do you believe standing up to bullies justifies force, or is there a better way? Take a stand and express your views. I'd love to hear from you.